Welcome everybody to this March 17th Helpful Village release webinar, where we are, we'll be communicating about the improvements we have done this month to our platform. So this is the agenda for the meeting. There are some news we're sharing with you all. There are some reminders. There are the release improvements for March. There is a quick demo, and there is discussion about the next priorities. So let's get that started. Oops, here. I'm going to start with some of these reminders first. First reminder is that we're doing today the release webinar, which is mostly announcements from Helpful Village to our customers. There is another webinar next week on Wednesday that we do with the Village to Village Network. That is happening on March 24th at 2 p.m. Eastern. That is our Q&A webinar. So basically, mostly we're answering questions from our villages. So it's more peer-to-peer. Today is more kind of about announcements. There's a list of quick reminders. There is a Helpful Village training documents guide. You have the link right there. You have the help center. We have a Slack space where there is conversation between villages, and there is also a space where you can submit improvement ideas. So this is just sharing the links that are important. And then if we keep going, basically for next week's webinar, we come to the webinar, but it helps us if you can send us your questions ahead of time, so that we can basically think about what would be a smart answer. And you can basically send the question for next week's webinar to Gary Frankel, who's on the call, and he's also our national coordinator. And that's the email address where he receives the questions for next week's webinar. So, if anything crosses your mind, please feel free to email Gary, and we obviously synchronize with Gary to prepare the meeting for next week. Here is also a quick reminder about the learning experience for people that want to have questions about how does Helpful Village work. We want to mention that there are essentially two key resources. One is the training documents guide. The other one is the help center. And the way they work is essentially you need to consider the training docs guide as the table of contents. It's basically how all the help resources are organized, and that's the link you can follow. And then the second resource is the help center, which is basically the database of all these training articles, where all the content is, but basically the training docs guide gives you context about topics, phases, and the different modules that you may be looking at. So that's kind of the hierarchy of the information, the table of contents, training docs guide. But we're gonna show you the training docs guide in a minute. But this is one example of how the training docs guide is organized. It basically puts every module in its context. So there are different phases when you're creating a village, and you can find it from there. You can also find the training docs guide on our website under helpfulvillage.com, and then on the menu, if you go to software and then support. And this is what the help center looks like if rather than going hierarchy and going down from phases to sections, etc. If you want to type in a question and search a question or a database, you can also go to support.helpfulvillage.com and search any question that crosses your mind. On that page, on the top right, you have a link that says submit a request. When you submit a request, you can send it to our support team. And basically, when you're typing your request, it's also going to suggest some articles, maybe because there is a chance the answer is already there, and then basically maybe you can find the answer even before you finish submitting your question. So this is the best way we invite you to submit your requests. There are just also a quick distinction here. The bugs and support requests, they need to go to support.helpfulvillage.com. Sometimes it's not a bug, it's something you have an idea that could make the system better. We're also eager to hear about those, but it's important that you send it to a different address that is called ask.helpfulvillage.com, because we obviously need to take care of bugs before we make any changes to the platform. Another quick reminder that is really important is the national events. This is available to all villages across the country. I know villages have their own local events, but if you want to participate we have a catalog of national events that is available to all villages, where basically, in particular, is a yoga class that we charge $6.99 per person and per class. People register on your village website and then pay on your village website, and then basically they just receive a Zoom link to participate in the class. If your village is interested in this, you can contact our support email address also to subscribe. And this is how it looks like. Basically, this picture of the last yoga class, I think, last week. So you see our wonderful yoga instructor on the top left, that's Petra. And then basically, I also wanted to share with you that I was super happy. The other lady you can see there is my mom, that she's now doing this same yoga class. So I was saying national events, but we could almost say international event because my mom is joining from Spain. So just super excited about getting people together there. There is no cost for villages to join, and it's obviously easy and secure. And this is basically how it looks like on your calendar. If you want to add it there, it's just another event on your calendar. Besides the yoga classes, is not a reminder, but more of an announcement, just saying that the team is working super hard on the learning experience. Since we acquired this product to help, the help center, well, we have been very active giving you more training material. So this month, and I think this is quite remarkable, the team added 24 new help center articles answering these different questions, 3 new video tutorials, and 5 new training articles that are not for admins, but essentially for members and volunteers. Basically, here is a list of training articles that were made this month. And you can see them here. Obviously, I understand that you're not reading them all right now, but I'm going to show you how you can find this information in a minute. I mean, these are a huge range of new videos and training docs that were available. Now, we have also something I'm quite excited about. It's like I was realizing about all the work that was being accomplished in the training side of things in the Learning Center. So was discussing with the team about how can we make it easier to understand all the new training material that we're putting together. And basically, I think the best way to find about that is basically to go to the training docs guide. The document that I was saying before, there is basically the table of contents of all the training resources that we make available. So if you go to this article, to this address here, which is basically www.helpfulvillage.com/training-docs-guide. If you click on that, it's going to open a document that looks like this. And basically, I want to show you a little bit about this document because I think it's super important. Basically, as I was saying before, it's a table of contents, right? It's like, okay, there are many articles in the Help Center, but what are all those training articles about? Then if you open this document, it's going to show you basically that we're talking about in an introduction about the trial guide, the preferred browsers, Google domains, etc. And then we have the different phases. Each one of the phases, there is a Helpful Village module, like editable website. You have how to use the menu manager, etc. And then basically, it's a long, basically table of contents about all the things you can learn about Helpful Village. So here you have how to add content to an editable page, web template, how to upload your logo and header to the page. So basically, it's a lot of titles of all these training articles are highlighted here. And we got a new idea this month that we're testing is basically that on this table of contents, right? Because we added so much new material this month, like we are highlighting it in purple, so that when you look at the table of contents, each month we're going to put everything in black, right? And the new training articles that were added that month, they will be highlighted in purple to show you what has changed in this document month after month. So basically, this how to transfer your domain to Google Domains and settings, how to create a new editable page and add pictures, a new training article that was added into the editable website module. And if you keep scrolling down, you see some new training documents that were added to the groups and volunteers, some that were added to promote your village here, to the email messenger, etc. So all these how we highlight. So if you go here to the basically, click on the table of contents and you click on that, it's going to take you to this portion of the document, which is below, right? And this is also, we are using this purple color to show you that, and a quick description in 1 or 2 sentences about what is this training article about. So here is like, here you will learn how admins can change a user's email address. And basically here, when you go down here, there is a link to basically to the Help Center. So basically, the training docs guide doesn't contain the content, doesn't contain the answer about how to do something, but it's basically just, as I was saying before, a table of contents. If you find the question you were wondering, you can click on the link. And then when you click on the link, that's going to send you to the help center, right? Which is basically the database where we're explaining how to do things, right? And the help center, if you look from here, is a possibility where you can also search and you will find the same information, right? But just the training docs guide is a way for us to give you context about all the different documents that are available in any given module. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my presentation now. Oh, yeah, we're good. Good point. So after these kind of explanations about the learning experience and the training docs guide, I'm gonna go straight into the new changes we have introduced to the platform this month, okay? So these changes are now on our demo site and they will become available to your villages this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We're deploying to the server. As a quick reminder also, you will see here, we're describing what is the new feature or improvement we have added to the platform. It's described here. Here on the top right, there's a little bit of context. It's essentially saying what is the phase and module that this improvement is about. I don't know if there is a question or something, or I was hearing some noise and I didn't know if someone wanted to ask, but I'll keep going and then we can have questions along the way. Okay, we added this improvement here is about, that you can give rights to different people in your village. There's admins that have rights to everything, but you can have people that are prospect managers or event managers or service request managers. And we added one more, more possibilities to one of these roles is the prospect manager now has the right to edit the user's address. So basically the prospect manager can manage the prospects list, right? And then if they learn some information about that prospect and they now, for example, let's say it's a prospect that was contacted the village by email, but now we made a phone call or we sent an email to that person and we collected the email address. Now the prospect manager can add that address to this person's profile. This is an improvement that we added to the email messenger. So last month we discussed about the possibility that we had added to the HTML editor for the web pages and also the email template editor, where basically it's possible to go insert a template where basically you can, for example, one of these templates can be a header or a logo, etc., that you define the same for all your pages. We got feedback from one of our villages and realized that it would be a good idea to add also these web templates to the email messenger. So now if you define a header, let's say, you define it in web templates inside settings, and then that becomes available to every message you're preparing from your email messenger. We have also added 2 merge fields to the email messenger. So the merge fields are essentially variables, right, that are about this specific person or donation. Those are replaced by the value that applies to this specific person. So these are values you can manage on your email templates. And there is a lot of variables there. You have first name, last name, etc. And we realized that we were missing 2 variables there. One is the membership type fee, if you pay in one time, so the lump sum, and then the membership type fee as a monthly fee. So before we only had one value, and now we have lump sum and monthly. So therefore, now if you use your email templates, you can use that variable so that when we receive, for example, a thank you for your renewing your message, you can use what was the monthly fee that was paid. Okay, now we're going into the settings area. So this is under menu settings, basically. And basically, is the way these settings are organized. So basically, there are different things you can configure or customize on Helpful Village. And there is a new tab that is called Money, because we were adding some new settings for financials. And basically, we thought we needed a new tab. Some of the settings, we moved them from miscellaneous to money because they, makes more sense. But there's also a new setting. And basically the new setting, and it's a new feature I'll be presenting in a minute, is basically the possibility for you to add the credit card processing fees option to the donations page. So if you want to activate this feature, you need to go to settings first and check that box and then save. And then it will be, I will show you a little later today. We'll do a little demo about how these fees get added to your page. Oh, here it is. So basically, this in the donation form, when you're choosing your credit card payment method, basically there will be a new checkbox there that the donor, when they go online, right, even anonymously, they have a possibility to add basically a small amount to cover for the processing fees of the Stripe fees and Helpful Village fees that they can add to the donation. So let's say that they have the intention to give $100, let's say, to the village. And then when they go fill out their information, their name, their address, etc., well, they will be presented with this question if you activate that feature that asks them, well, do you want to also add a little bit more to your donation so that it covers for the processing fees and the credit card fees? So it's a checkbox for them, so they can choose to do it or not to do it. But if they choose to do it, obviously the village receives a little bit more money, which makes sense. Okay, and I'm going to show you this in the demo. So what I mean is that I'm going to go on the demo site after I finish with the slides, and we can see that in practice. Okay, next improvement is an improvement we have done for the Zoom module, basically version 2, which is that you can synchronize when you're creating an event on Helpful Village. You have the possibility to add it to your Zoom account, and that is great for security because that allows for people that register on Helpful Village to receive a personal link to join the Zoom meeting. Now, something we didn't have last month is that we didn't have the possibility to request to Zoom what are the phone numbers you can use to join the meeting with a phone call. And now we're doing this automatically. So on Helpful Village, if you have the Zoom module, if you add the event to Zoom, we're gonna ask automatically to Zoom if they can give us the phone numbers and meeting IDs and passcode that is needed to join by phone. So so this is automatic with the Zoom module. It just allows your members to join by phone if they are not, joining from their computers. These instructions, so this information, actually, we're automatically adding it to the instructions field of your event. So basically, it will also be included in the email that goes out, right? The registration email when people sign up for an event, it will include also the phone numbers for people to join by phone if they want to do so. So it will include the button, right, to join with your computer, and the information for the phone too. So that's now automatic. Okay, I'm now the next improvement is something I'm excited about because actually I know that this is a very popular improvement request that many villages have formulated, and it's about the documents library, where basically we have added in this month's release the possibility to manage the folders of that document library. What we were doing before is that we had, I think, 5 or 6 folders that were preset by Helpful Village. One of them was member documents, another one was volunteer documents, admin documents, etc. And now we give you the possibility using that button there on the documents library to basically add more folders and basically organize the information better into your Helpful Village platform for your documents. I will also show this in the demo later today. Next improvement is another very popular request that we're very happy we could fulfill this month, is the possibility to do a bulk delete of reports from the documents library. And I can see Susan that this one is one that makes her happy. And I know it's there are other villages because we, basically we have received several requests by several villages, and then that's how we realized that it's something that could be helpful to several people. So now if you go to the documents library, there will be a checkbox here on the left. So you can check, it will be unchecked by default, right? But if you check those checkboxes and then you go, oh God, sorry. And then you go to the bottom of the page, there will be a button that says delete all selected documents. So you don't need to delete them one by one, but basically it's going to delete all those that are checked, right? So obviously be careful not to delete documents you don't want to delete. But now it's going to save you time. You don't need, before last month, what you needed to do is you need to delete one by one, and that was obviously a waste of time. So now it's just easier to clean that up. And here we had received the request in the context of reports, right? So that's why we use this name, but actually it's for all documents in the documents library. It's not only for reports, but obviously reports is a specific type of document in the documents library. Okay, so with all this, I think I'm gonna go into the demo mode. If you have any questions, please feel free to to unmute and ask the questions along the way while we do the demo. So, but now here we go into our demo site.
Manuel,
okay. Yes.
I have a question in the email messenger when you showed about inserting templates. When I click on that, it says no templates defined.
Yeah.
Where do I go to define?
In the email messenger, you say?
Yes.
Yeah, that's basically because we had done last month, we had done it in the editable pages, and we had also done it in the email templates pages, but we had not done it in the email messenger. So this is an improvement we're adding this month, is that it now becomes available starting this weekend. So basically, you just need to wait 2-3 days, and it will become available in the email messenger.
But where do you define them? I mean, it sounds like you have to create them somewhere.
Great question. So basically, the place where you define them is here, settings, admin settings. And then in settings, here is the web templates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No, it's a great question. Thank you, Maricruz. So basically here you can, I have a footer, but I can create a new template. I can, for example, a header would be an obvious example that I can create here. And then from the header I can then go to the email messenger or footer here. And then basically when I create a new email, I'll be able to come down here, and then I will be able to do insert template. And then these are different options that I have in these different templates that are available in the web template that we saw. If you choose and then we can see this, the logo looks like this, the logo, emails, and then basically we have a footer. So in this example, I want to add the footer to my email messenger, so I can save this, and then that's it. I can type the rest of the email, and it just added the footer here. Same thing I could do with the header, right? So if I had a header web template, I could go here at the top of my email messenger thing here, and then do the same, insert template, and then choose my here. If I had a header that I had created, would be there. I don't have anyone, so I'm gonna add another this guy up here too. So now you see you have the header here and the footer here. In this case, I added the footer twice, so it's up here and down here. So it's important where you have your cursor here before you click on the insert template. But anyways, I think that answers that question.
Manuel, this is Carol from Oregon. So what's confusing for me is you call this a web template, which in my mind has to do with web pages, and it's really an email header or footer, right?
Yeah, it's a good question. The thing is that obviously it's actually HTML, right? If you look at the code of this, well, it's just a bunch of HTML that is kind of web code. And the thing is that when you send an email out, right, it can contain this HTML that is kind of pretty text or something, and you can use the same HTML in your web pages and also in your email template. So basically, they are reusable in both contexts. You see what I'm saying? And it's kind of some web code, so that's why it's called web template. So, but I agree with you. Kind of, it's I don't know if there would be a better denomination, but essentially, web templates is just a web design element, if you want, that you can include into an editable page, or you can also add to an email messenger. That's maybe a better way to put it, a web element.
You just call it a template?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's semantics. Obviously, it's a good suggestion, Joanne. But the thing is, like with templates, when I think templates, the first thing that comes to my mind, and it's correct also, we could call it templates, but for me, when I think template, is more kind of the whole thing, right? Like when we have an email template, it's kind of, well, it's ready. And if we had a web template, what I would think, oh, well, 2 columns or 3 columns, stuff like that. So I would refrain from using the word template, because for me, it's just more kind of a web element, or what were we calling it here? It's like a settings. Oh, we're calling it actually web template. So you're right, John. Actually, it's like we're already calling it a template. Yeah, it's kind of complicated because this It's just the semantics. The wording is complicated. The functionality is not complicated. It's just you have a little bit of web code, right? And you can add it to an editable page or an email. What would be the best name to call it? It's a little tricky, but we're going with web templates for now.
The category that it's under is menu manager and pages, which made me think it was just related to.
You know what happens, Carol? That's interesting. It's kind of one of the historic evolution of the thing. It's like at first we were thinking like, oh, it would be great to have a reusable graphic element, right? That would be available in the editable pages, and that's why it's there, right? And then this month we got a village that asked us the question like, oh, we already have our footer and header defined here, right? For our website web templates. Can we use the same header in the email messenger? I thought, well, of course, I mean, that makes so much sense. You see what I'm saying is that you have a pretty graphic element. So yeah, it's all about semantics. We'll give it more thought, but I can totally understand why it's here, because historically it's where we started, and now we made it available also under email. So yeah, I don't know. The feature is not that complicated.
Yeah. I guess I was thinking on this page right here that it could just be templates. And then under that, you have a lot of different templates, right?
Yeah, with templates, we need to be careful also, Joanne, because basically.
Okay, yeah, okay.
No, but
email
it's
templates.
a good idea, but then we have email templates.
Yeah.
I think they belong more here, right? But then basically maybe what we can do here, maybe we can extend this title, right? Which could be menu manager, pages, and
templates,
web art, or I don't know. We'll think about this wording.
Maybe you need a separate page for templates.
Maybe, yeah. But then the thing is, if we have a separate mail for templates, and then we're maybe confused this one with that one, and then this one I like having it in emails because it's the emails that are gonna go out, right, for renewals, for thank you for your donation. So this one feels right that it's in email. And
save the chat. There's a good discussion in chat. Look at that after
but I cannot read it live because otherwise. But definitely, we will read the chat. I know Christina is on the chat already, and we always discuss the chat with the team after the meeting. I just cannot kind of do the live.
There's a suggestion that different people agree. This HTML template.
Yeah, HTML template or HTML. Yeah, and even Word template. I'm a little hesitant, but maybe HTML is better than web. Maybe we'll go with HTML, which obviously implies that people would need to know what HTML means, but maybe better. But I mean, the main result of this is that I agree we need to give it a little bit more thought to see if we find a better denomination of this. And then basically on our training documents, Chris, we need to make sure that we understand that these graphic elements here, or HTML elements, are also accessible in the email messenger, not only here. Perfect, let's move on. I wanted to show you this setting here under money, right? So these settings were already pre-existing. This is kind of the default fundraising campaign that you want to set up for your village, and this default fundraising campaign is the one that will be used when people click donate now button here. But this is not a new setting. This was already existing, but it was here in the miscellaneous folder. We just moved this one around here to money. And this is a new folder, and there may be other settings that come to the money folder in the future. So we wanted to create this category. Now, this checkbox here, right? This is important. It's a new feature also this month. Like if you remove it, right, and then save. Okay, and now you go to donate now. And then you scroll down and you see your donation form as usual, same one that you know, right? And then here you can choose your payment method, and then here you have the acceptance of the terms and policy, and then you have pay with credit card. There is no option about adding the processing fees, right? Because it's your choice. You can choose either to ask that question if you think it applies to your village, or if you prefer not asking that question because you think it's annoying to your donors, well, then you don't need to add it. But now we're going to add it back. So if I go admin, settings, money, and then we want to have the option to add credit card processing fees, and we save this. And then I go to the exact same place. So that's going to activate it for all your fundraising campaigns. And when you come here and you want to make a donation, and then basically you want to say $100 donation, and then you add your address and stuff like that and all this. Basically, when you go down here, you see that there is this checkbox that allows the person to basically add $4 more to that donation. Okay, and the donor has that as an option. If they don't want to do it, well, they don't check it. And but they do. We had here 100, and then we add the processing fees here. So the total amount they're donating here is now 104. So we're adding those fees in there. Obviously here, if you change that amount, and then rather than doing 100 to 250, then you go here, it's a new amount that just entered into play. Now, this amount, how is it calculated? Obviously, we're using the Stripe fees and the Helpful Village fee that is added there. So basically, the whole point here is that it covers for the credit card fees that are being applied by Stripe and Helpful, so that your village gets a straight amount that is here. Now, there is one additional little thing that I want to mention about this calculation is what's the Stripe fee? Now, most people know this, I think, but basically Stripe has two different set of fees. They have the standard fee that is 2.9% and 30 cents. And that's basically the rate that we're applying here. We're assuming that that's the rate you have from Stripe. But as nonprofits, you can contact Stripe and you can get a better deal. And basically the deal that we hear is offered to nonprofits is basically 2.2% plus 30 cents. Now, Stripe is not telling us what's the deal you got with them. So basically, we don't know if your village is under 2.9 or 2.2%. So basically, the assumption we're doing here is that you're on 2.9%. So basically, if you're on 2.2, these fees are a little higher than what you have. But the thing is that I have no other possibility to know what the fee you have for your own village, what's the deal you have with Stripe. And I think there was a question.
I could share our experience that we were told very clearly donations, they would apply for the lower rate. Anything relative to membership could not, because it was a fee for service.
Yes.
So we had to make 2 accounts.
Yeah, and you have both accounts connected with Helpful Village, right?
Yes.
Yes. So when we have that, we apply well, basically the kind of membership or service fee for services, and for donations we apply automatically the donation fee. Now, this is a place where basically I know basically is your village depends a little bit on when did you contact or set up your Stripe account, because in my perception, right, different villages contacted the Stripe at different points in time, and my understanding is that they got different deals potentially, right? I'm not sure everyone is working on the same thing. So that's how we're doing at this point. We're just assuming is 2.9 because it's kind of the worst case scenario. But if you have any other ideas of doing differently, just let us know.
Is that something we could put in the configuration file at some point? It's probably not worth it right now because it's such a small amount. But
yeah, I mean we could. The thing is, like, if you're okay with sharing that with us, we can definitely use that in a configuration file to be more precise. Just Stripe doesn't communicate with us basically the deal or the fee that they agreed with you. So if you don't have that information, we're making this 2.9% assumption. Okay. Okay, so that was for the donations aspect. There is one more thing I wanted to show you. Now, there are 2 more things that I'm sure I wanted to show you. Is about the documents library. So you go down here under admins, and then here you go to documents library, and then under documents library you have 2 things that are interesting here. First, you go down, you have a few folders. All these folders here were suggested by Helpful Village: admin docs, member newsletters, etc. And then you can navigate these folders, and if you go into the member docs, each one of these folders will contain some file. Now, first thing, maybe while I'm here, it's like you can select this document and you can delete all selected documents here. You can do it on any folder. So if you go here to your main folder here, and then you want to delete all these 3 documents here, you can select the documents you want and just delete all selected documents. So that's how you do this bulk delete. But the thing that I wanted to show you now is basically here about how to manage the documents library folders. And so that's also a new feature this month. So you had these 5 or 6 folders here that are made available, but you can now click on this button and it's going to take you to this entirely new place that is called the Documents Library Folders area. And it's kind of funny, I'm just smiling because it may sound similar, familiar to some of you, because it's very similar to basically the menu manager, right? Because in the end, the menu manager that allows you to manage these pages here is very similar. It's kind of a hierarchy of, this parent menu item that has these children menu items, and each one of these children can have other children. And basically when we're managing folders, it's the same thing. Like you can have these folders here that are at the top level, and then they remain the same. It's admin, member docs, newsletters. So all those are the folders in the document library. But then you can have basically a subfolder. So if you come down here under, let's say, member documents, and you want to add a subfolder under that one, you can click here. And then let's see if I am creative enough to have a good idea of a document that could come here. Let's call this application forms. And then this is customizable. So you can choose the name of your subfolders now. And then I want to add the translation in Spanish, but it's not coming. Formulario.
Formulario de inscripción.
Gracias.
Welcome.
Oh, God. Oh, got the accent in. Perfect. This Spanish option is optional also, so you can configure that. So basically what I did now is that I added a subfolder under member docs that is for the application forms, if you need that for your village. And then if you go inside here, if you click on it, you also have the possibility to edit it, right? So let's say that we had a typo or something. I don't do typos, not my thing, but you can fix that and then obviously save it from here. I got a little bug in there, so it will be fixed before this weekend. And then basically from each one of these.
Manuel, I think it's the accent, in
Spanish. I don't know, could be.
Because it's a special character.
Yeah, but we'll look at that. But then definitely the other thing is like if you create one of these subfolders, the kind of the application forms, you need to delete it. There will be a delete button that is here. And if you want to go back to document library folder, you can also click on this button and it's going to take you back here to this option where you can create additional folders. So basically you need to think about this documents library folders area as a kind of the space where you customize basically the structure of your folder structure for the document library. So you could add more folders and subfolders here, and even a subfolder inside a subfolder, right? And then when you're done setting up your structure, basically you can come back to the documents library. And when you're in the document, either from there, right? Or you can also do it from here. So there's different ways to get to the documents library. And now basically here, now we have this top level hierarchy of folders. And then we have admin, member docs, newsletters, other, report, etc. And then if you click under members, you will see that we created a subfolder that is now called application forms. So now you can go inside that other subfolder. And then from the subfolder, you can add a new document here. And basically there's a application form or membership application form for Christina. And then it's gonna go into this current folder. You can say here, who can read this document? If it's admin only, is for active members, etc. For me, by default, it's the maximum security admin folder. You can choose a PDF file or a Word document file or something. And then, oh God. I don't know if I have a good PDF here. Boo! I don't like what I'm doing. Yeah, I cannot find a good file, but you understand that this is just uploading the folder to the document. So, so that's it. So now you have possibility to have folders and subfolders.
Manuel?
Yes.
Is there the opportunity to create a new high-level folder?
Not today, really. So I was thinking about that, right? And my first thought is that some of these folders are used by the software itself. For example, when you're for example, if you go here, admin, reports, and then you go to reporting docs, and then you generate your board report or impact report or the active members report. It is going to go into the reports folder, right, automatically. So basically, in a way, I mean, we added customization so that you can add subfolders to this, but I also was a little bit careful so that I mean, that this folder doesn't disappear, because then if that disappears, then I don't know where to put my reports. But Sheila, coming back to you, I don't know if you had any comments. So basically, at this point on this version, basically all these top level folders are not kind of cannot be edited or deleted, but you can go on any of this and then have subcategories in here. But if you have any feedback or ideas you want to share with the group, I'm happy to hear about those.
Manuel, can you move things from one folder to another?
Yes, great question. So
so like you have that list. If you go down lower on your screen, you've got those reports. Can you move those into a folder?
Yeah, no, I don't think we have that, Margie. So it's a great question. So I realized that we will need to add that for next month. So basically, that's easier to move.
Yeah, because a lot of the reports, like if you run member reports, it might be nice to be able to move them into members.
Into members, yeah. So I think so. We have a great improvement idea for next month, where basically we make it possible to move. So obviously now the hierarchy of folders is now known to the system. So what I'm thinking that we will have is that you can go into here. Yeah, I need to think a little bit more about that. So I'm not going to do it live, because there are two options. One easy option is that you can go to the document here, right? And in the document, it's now in member docs, and you can change it to another spot, right? But then I can already see Margie coming and say, well, can we move several folders at the same time?
No.
Well, yeah, that does make sense. Yeah, because right now virtually everything goes into reports, right?
No, we have a huge long list under the folders. We have all this list of things.
Yeah.
That I want to delete and move.
No, I mean, if you run a report through admin reports, pretty much everything goes into reports, right?
So I don't know if I can be, exhaustive in the sense. I know newsletters. We are also sorting newsletters here. If you go down here, right, and then you create a new newsletter here, right? We're gonna put it in the documents library in the newsletter folder too. You see?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
So those are, I think that makes sense too. So that I know that are two places where basically the system needs to have those two folders for sure. And I don't know about the others, if we're saving other documents, maybe not. But definitely coming back to Margie's question, and then Sheila, also to your point, from a coding perspective, obviously the easiest thing is to say, well, I choose one document and I can move it. I'm sorry, this is not here. I need to go back to the documents library. Oh, documents library. And then having each one of these documents, when you edit it, right, you can edit, replace it, the file, etc., or change the name, etc. And here you can also change the folder it is in. So I think for next month, what we're gonna do is that add the possibility to kind of browse a little bit more into folders and subfolders here, because you can change it from in the same parent folder, but you cannot go deeper into, for example, member docs. Now we have application forms and we cannot navigate to go in there. But anyway,
it would be helpful, because if people start adding subfolders, they're going to want to put some of the stuff that's in the high level folder into those subfolders, and it.
Absolutely.
Actually,
so that we take it immediately as an improvement request. That makes so much sense that we need to do it for next month. So it's in. But in the meantime, for this month, try to create your folders in the right spot, or wait until next month to move them.
The other thing that might be helpful at the top level, don't allow us to change what's there, but maybe you could add other folders.
That's interesting.
Because you need certain ones. So
yeah, I need certain ones. Adding some,
Hey, it's just something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, like, we need to see if it's is a good point. I don't know if if we have some obvious examples about other folders that would come here, or if we just have people saying, well, you can always go under other if it doesn't.
Right, and make a subfolder
and then basically
under
here
other.
you can
So
also do all
that
these
might
other
cover it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that might cover it, that too. Perfect. Oh, I need to go back to the slides. So I don't know why I stopped sharing my screen. So let's go back in. The slides are here. So these are the improvements of this month. And as we just discussed, we have an improvement request for next month that we'll be working on. And then we have other improvement requests on the new priorities. So basically, this is what we had in the planning for next month, which is a very famous report that I need to do about adding automatically the hours for service requests, hours, and check-ins. So I know villages are doing that manually, and that makes no sense to me. I mean, that should be automatic, is what I mean. We want to add more website design features and templates. It's kind of interesting. The same web components we were saying before, we just want to give you some pre-designed templates that you can add with insert templates. Kind of one of the things we were thinking, I was discussing this with Colin, is, for example, adding a template where you have 3 columns with a picture, a square picture, and a small description below. So you don't need to use it. But if you think that style would add something to your website, we will make more graphic options available to you at a click of a button in those web templates. And then possibility to bulk delete the past emails and filters. I don't know what filters means, but I think the bulk delete of emails is very similar to what I did this month on the documents library. So kind of now I have the trick. So that's going to be coming for the email messenger for next month. And then there is these newsletters in HTML format. So today, what we offer mostly is for people to add it as a PDF. But I think it makes sense also to give you an option to add the newsletters as HTML, which is kind of this web format, or PDF. So you will have both options in the future. So that's the future, new priorities now that we have the new release out. We have time for questions. This is the email where we can send things back to Gary, because as a reminder, we have another webinar for Q&A. And you can give us all our feedback about the improvements when we meet next time on Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern on V2V. The thing is that also for the V2V webinar, it's important that you pre-register on the V2V website, because they are the ones that are sending the meeting link. And that being said, I'll stop talking. So if we still have a couple of minutes, so I'll be around. If anyone has other questions or discussions or things we want to talk about, I'm here for the next 8 minutes. What do you guys think? Anyone has questions? It's a good moment. But if you prefer, starting fresh and testing the new improvements before we go into questions and discuss about those next week, we can also do that. There's no shame in finishing the webinar early. We usually most of the time finish past the hour, 5 or 10 minutes. So today
it's a great accomplishment. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Joanna.
So I have one. I don't know if you want to get into it, but if you're making changes to your website and you want to make them visible, but just to like a subset of the people, not making them public or to members, is there a way to do that?
Yes, I can show you that. Basically here, when we go, if you go here, demo, and then you go into, settings. And under settings, we have this website page where we have menu manager and editable pages, right? So this is basically essentially where you set up your pages.
Yep.
Then you choose, for example, this page that is called About Donations. If you choose any of your pages, you can edit this page. And when you're editing, it allows you to do a few things. First is kind of change just how your page looks like, right? So you can add a header. This is my page about, donations, and then you put this as a header or something. Let's make this bigger, etc. All these things. And then one of the things you can do is choose the title of that page. And then the other thing is who can read it. So by default, we're going to set it up as only readable by admins, right? Because usually only people that have admin rights can see this page. But when you finished working on it and it's ready to be visible to others, you can change this option and basically share it with the group you think makes most sense. So if you think it's a public page, you can come down here and choose the public option so everyone can see it. You also have other options where basically it's only visible to active members and volunteers. Essentially, if it's information that is designed for your active members and volunteers and it's not public, you choose this option. And basically, these pages will require a login, and we will check the rights of the person that is trying to browse those pages, and we will check if they're active members and volunteers. Otherwise, they cannot see it. Obviously, for the public pages, we don't check anything, and you don't need to be logged in. For all these other options, you need to be logged in, of course. Make sense?
But there's no. It's almost like what I'd like is a admin read-only type of thing where, you know, I could say, okay, I want my board of directors people to kind of look in and look around, but I don't want, you know, other people to do it. But I guess you could have a fake admin account and do something, but then make sure they don't make changes to things. Okay.
But actually what we're saying here right, is actually the who can read. So it's if you choose it, that is, if you choose active members here, they cannot edit that page, but they can read it. So
they could just look at it.
So it's already view only, right? But maybe where your question is interesting is the fact that, well, who are the groups? So if you do that here, it's going to be for all your members at first.
Right. It's almost like we want another group, like a test group or something.
Yeah. You know what I think we could do here that it would be very easy is that we could give another, kind of add another option here that would be website managers, right? Because you can, when you come in here, let me search a person in the database. When you find any given person in the database, you can give rights, right? So you can say that Elda here, she has a web pages manager role. And basically we could say that all people that have this checkbox checked basically can see that page. That can be the people on your board or something. So I think there's a good, you know, an easy way to get that done.
Well, one thing we've done is if you have a page that you just call it a funny name and you don't link it from anywhere, you can make it public and share that page and nobody else is going to find it. So then you don't have to worry about
to it. Okay.
Yeah. Like an orphan page.
We've had a problem where I'll go in to edit the home page. So we had one home page called homepage in process. But then how do you make that homepage in process the actual home page?
Yeah, so that's a separate question, but I mean, it's connected question, but yeah, we don't have a button. Margie, it's a good point because we have had the question before. You know what we do usually is that, well, we clone the homepage or to make sure we don't lose it. And what we're doing is we were going to the code editor, copy paste everything that you have in your in process, and we were copy pasting that code into the other space. Now, if I understand your question well, maybe we could have a question that says, well, make this the new homepage. You see what I'm saying? So we could add a button if you, because we have had the question several times, so that maybe makes things easier. But and you don't need to copy paste code and stuff and ugly stuff like that.
That's what we were doing, was copying and pasting. But then somebody started editing the home page in process and wanted to. We got it mixed up, so we ended up editing the home page, but.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there is always, you know, I don't think there's a way to avoid that people modify what they should not be modifying, but maybe on the publishing side, right? When you were thinking, well, how do we make this my new homepage? I think we could add a button on the website page specifically that says, well, I desire to make this my new homepage. And then when you click on that button, we're doing this copy paste and stuff for you.
That sounds great.
And that's simple enough. So that's a good.
Yeah, excellent idea.
Can I ask something?
Yes.
Can I ask? Okay, I have two questions. The first one is, I've asked this before, but I don't know where it is. The button to add an event to the Google Calendar.
Yes.
Is there any interest in doing that?
Oh, you have it already, right? I mean,
no, I don't think so. I can't. If I click that button, it doesn't go to my Google Calendar.
Your personal calendar?
My Google Calendar. Yeah.
Okay, let me try. Let's try that live.
All right, you can try.
Hi. And hi, Sheila, by the way.
Hi.
So can you see my screen?
Yes.
I hope so. So basically here, if you go to, I mean, I had my demo site here 2 seconds ago. It's here.
Well, you have to go to events.
And then if we go to events,
events
list, And then, okay, let's take this one. So this is 22nd, it's in the next Monday. It's also a yoga class. And then basically you go to add to your calendar, right?
Right. Yeah, but it doesn't go to my Google.
Well, the first thing is it downloaded here. So now if I open it,
Now what?
yeah, it's adding it. This is to my default calendar. So this is my iCalendar on my computer.
So which one is the Google Calendar?
Oh, basically,
What do you
actually,
mean by
you see
Google
it here.
Calendar?
Basically, my Google Calendar is here too, right? But it's synchronized with my system calendar on my Mac, right? But the thing is, like, because I have my Google Calendar synchronized with my Mac calendar.
Okay, I don't. Mine's on my PC, but I can also pick it up from the iPad, from the phone.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll double check that because
I mean, lots of places allow you to go directly to the Google Calendar.
Yeah. No,
And other calendars.
I can check that because basically I think there might be an option where basically I was expecting it to ask me if I wanted, but at the same time, the Google Calendar, I mean, I can add it to my Google Calendar through iCal, right? Which is my Mac calendar software. But I'll double check that. Now I get the new point. So that's okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Can I ask one more?
Yes, but last one because we'll be beyond time and we will have another Q&A next week. But yes, Sheila, I'll take that one as the last question of the day.
Okay, last question today. Is there any way to have some kind of access to our data?
Well, you do. You go here.
No, I mean, so I can write a report if I want to using the data.
Well, that's it. So basically you go to reporting docs and then.
No, I know, but you don't always have the report I want, or you don't include everything I would like. Is there any way that I can directly access the data is what I mean?
No, basically what we do is
like a database.
No, we don't give access to the database, but obviously what we want you to be able to run the reports you need, right? So basically the first thing is like, if we can understand what kind of report you're thinking about, there is a possibility we can do it for you, right? And then if there is some specific column or something that you need from when you download it from here, well, then maybe we forgot one column and we can add it to one of these that are pre-existing here. But basically the process is that basically you should be able to download a spreadsheet file from here and then recombine it with some kind of reporting software that you can do. So.
Yeah, but that means for every single report that I want to make a change, I have to contact you.
Yeah.
Like the driver's report was a case in point. It had very limited data on the drivers. I don't think it even included the email address, for example. I mean, there's some basic information that I would like. So you're telling me there's no way I can do it?
Well, the thing is, like, I think you can do, right? For me, it's like you can always, now it's, so basically you can download this file, right? The expiring driver license.
Right.
And the whole thing that I would say is that you do that one with your active volunteers report if something was missing. And then you need to, basically use some magic so that you're recombining or joining the joint data. But so that's it. So basically you have the data in there, but you need to recombine it. I mean, my favorite answer is that I know, Sheila, that you have kind of more skills so that you can recombine these files, right? So what we usually recommend is that if there's something that makes so much sense, as you were saying here, like the driver license report should have an email. The best thing is go back to us so that we can improve this report so that it's kind of, more useful out right now. And then in the meantime, when we're working on that, obviously, we want to make that data available to you so that you can recombine with obviously more skill and effort that should be necessary. But that would be the point. But we can discuss about that some more eventually next week.
The answer is no.
No.
Basically, the answer is no.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Well, okay. Thank you, everybody. And then, as I said before, I'll be happy to see you all next week. And then the new version will be on the server on the weekend. And next week on Wednesday, we can discuss, Q&A, peer-to-peer discussion with Gary on the B2B call. So thank you, everybody. And
Thank
then
you.
Bye.
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 Bye.